Wednesday, April 21st, 2021. So it's 4/21/21, and I'm still in the Atlanta, Georgia region. I'm actually on the west side of Atlanta today, and I'm at a place called Sweetwater Creek State Park. Maybe I have lunch on my mind, but Sweetwater Creek State Park, which is south of Lithia Springs, west of Atlanta. And the reservoir behind me is called, I think it's called George Wright, maybe George H. Wright or something reservoir. And when you do a live outside, you have to take into account the wind. And today we're supposed to have steady winds of 20 miles an hour with wind gusts of up to 35 miles per hour. So, took a chance and I drove to a place I've never been to before and thought I'd get here. I got here about an hour ago and cased it out, and I found a place that is ideal. It's right here on the edge of the water, and they actually have a shed that I'm at the at the mouth of, I guess. So it's blocking the wind that's outside, and it's also blocking some of the pollen that is being blown off the trees and spread. So I have a very good, conducive to a Facebook and YouTube live today. And I love the sunshine, I love the lakes. Again, I love to have peace, wherever I go. Peace is good. And having, healthy relationships, healthy conversations and so forth is good versus the others. So hello to Tina Kirkpatrick on YouTube. Again, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook, both at the same time. And my phone and my iPad are actually in the shade inside of this shed, and out of the breeze and out of the pollen. It's just interesting. I've never been around pollen before, and it's just very cool. So, in fact, I'll say this. I see Vicky Seabury from Michigan. I saw that they had some snow, at least I know in Indiana, probably in southern Michigan as well, or maybe even northern Michigan. But it's kind of unusual to see snow on April the 20th in central Indiana, in Indianapolis and in Fort Wayne. So I'm so glad to be in Georgia, where it's sunny. High today, I think, is supposed to be around 60, and lately it's been in the mid 70s, so it's been perfect. No humidity, which is a good thing. I don't like humidity. And I'll be starting to travel farther west to Arkansas and Texas in a couple of weeks, and then out to California. And it's nice in California because they really don't have humidity there. They definitely have humidity, in the Midwest. So I grew up with humidity, so it's nice to not be around there. So anyway, beautiful clouds behind me. Maybe you'll see something in the clouds. I tend to see that. It's pretty cool when something forms in the clouds. So we'll see if you guys see something behind me in the clouds that the Lord is trying to show. So anyway, my breakthrough tour, continue to add to it. I'll give you the schedule right now. Next Saturday, May the 1st, 7 p.m. we'll be in Atlanta, Georgia at the Atlanta Marriott Perimeter Center. Had another 4 people that signed up yesterday, or maybe I guess it was last night. Yeah, last night. And so we're continuing to see the numbers grow. Again, you can sign up on Eventbrite, or you can sign up on, you had snow in Ontario, Canada. I was in Ontario a couple of years ago in, let's see, Toronto, and also in Niagara Falls area, doing some ministry up there. All right, so Atlanta Marriott Perimeter Center. It's up on the north side of Atlanta. May the 1st is the Saturday, next Saturday. Then May 22nd, May 23rd in Hot Springs, Arkansas at the Highland Street Revival Church. May 29th, May 30th in Merkel, Texas, Fountain Gate Merkel Church, which is west of Dallas, which is west of Abilene. Then we just added this yesterday, June the 5th, Saturday night in Las Vegas, Nevada. There's some people out there that definitely need healed and delivered. In fact, I remember I was out there 2 years ago, and the Lord had me pass out my book, Restored to Freedom, like on the street, on the strip, basically. And I remember one couple I passed it out to, that the woman had just seen a TV show that I was on Uplift TV, and she was from Michigan. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, when I watched your show, it explained everything, and I remember saying, I want his book, Restored to Freedom. And now here you are in Las Vegas handing me the book." So that was crazy, just crazy. But yeah, lots of people there that definitely have been wounded, that need healed and need delivered. So, again, that's June the 5th in Las Vegas. I'm going to be at a home group. That's Saturday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And then the next night, June the 6th, in Anaheim, California, which is in Orange County, south of LA, Ecclesia Global Church. And then June the 12th, June the 13th in Bernie, California, which is up in Northern California, east of Redding. June 25th to 27th in Seattle, Washington at the Point Church, Pastor Mike Zachman, just north of Seattle, actually, in Arlington. They have a few coffee places up there in Seattle that make coffee, Seattle's best coffee, and a small thing called Starbucks that might be catching on. So, all right, July the 9th and July the 10th, Billings, Montana, at the Everlasting Covenant Congregation, which is a Messianic congregation, Pastor Steve Heimbishner. And then July 24th in Omaha, Nebraska, Empowered Family Church. July the 31st in Fort Atkinson, Iowa, at a ministry called In One Accord. And then August 1st in Decorah, Iowa, at Christian Life Center. And again, I'll be scheduling some more going forward. Going to, where am I going to? I'll be going to Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Chicago, and who knows, maybe the Northeast this time before coming back. So, yay, Las Vegas. June the 5th, says Kim Ortega in Vegas. Yep, looking forward to returning. This will be my 3rd year in a row there in Las Vegas. So, all right, topic of the day. You cannot have a healthy relationship without a healthy effort. And it's true. I'm going to do a lot of sessions with people, private sessions. I actually did 4 yesterday. Ouch. Those are challenging days when I do 4 in one day, but I try to keep it to 7 to 8 a week of private sessions. But we're seeing great results, very, very good results. People getting breakthroughs and breaking free from their pain and their wounds from their past and commanding the demons to go, and then being able to have a lot more peace and a lot more joy. But when it comes to inner healing and deliverance, a lot of times people tend to not go all in on their efforts. You know, I see this all the time. I do sessions with, do them with couples, but also do them with individuals, where you have, you know, if a wife is married to a husband and the husband doesn't go all in with the effort to be healed and delivered, it's not going to work. I know it. I've seen it. Or the vice versa. If you've got a man that's, and it's typically the ones that have the Ahab spirit tend to be more easy at wanting to get delivered. They want to start standing up for themselves and not being pushed around anymore. It's those that have the spirit of Jezebel, which are those that have been hurt deeply, that are more prideful, that those types of people are much more harder to get delivered. And it's true. So, again, I do my best to present the truth, but it is ultimately up to each individual. They have a free will to choose. Do they want to choose freedom? There's a bird that's over here on the dock, sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Interesting. So anyways, those who do not put in their full forth efforts, oftentimes they'll say, well, you know, I went through the deliverance, I went through the prayers, and I'm good to go. But yet, they still don't treat their spouse the way that they should. Just like our relationship with Jesus, you know, if we ignored him There's a lot of people I do sessions with where they say, okay, my husband or my wife went through the session and they still, either one or the other, they either treat me with a lot of control and manipulation, make me do what they want, and they could be mean about it, or they could be nice about it. And I've seen a lot of times where people won't talk to the person, and they use that. They call it like a passive aggressiveness. I remember one lady that did not speak to her husband for a year and a half. That's a long time. And they lived in the same home and had kids. Go a year and a half without talking to somebody. That's kind of tough to have a relationship with, isn't it? But kudos to the guy who actually stuck it out, and he had the Ahab spirit, but both of them got delivered. And now they have a very good relationship, and their children as well. So to have a relationship with anyone, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your parent, whether it's your children, whether it's friends at work, whether it's people at church or at school, it takes two. You could have one person that refuses to do the work, that does not get healed and delivered, and you do everything you can and you want a relationship with them, but then they oftentimes will self-sabotage that relationship and it will not turn out good. And who wants a relationship with someone that doesn't put forth the effort, doesn't want the relationship with you? It's just like Jesus. Jesus wants a personal relationship with us. But it's interesting because oftentimes what will happen is a person that's been wounded or been hurt, that they will hear a lot of voices from the enemy. And they could just rattle off a whole bunch of thoughts that they get from the enemy every day. And of course, I used to also hear those thoughts, but anymore, I'm like, nope, taking the thoughts captive, not going to listen to anything that's going to be negative, that's coming from demons. Don't want to go there. I want to stay positive. So when you take your thoughts captive, which is really hard to do when the demons have legal rights, because you have anger and bitterness, or you've been hurt, or you've been reamed out by a person that's whatever, has a relationship with you, it hurts. And you hear oftentimes those demonic thoughts over and over and over again. But if you let the enemy keep playing those thoughts and you keep reminding yourself of those thoughts, you're not going to have a peaceful day. You're not going to have a good day. You're not going to have a good relationship with anybody either. So with Jesus, does he hammer you with a whole bunch of thoughts day after day after day, wanting the relationship with you? Yeah, he wants a relationship. But more often than not, he's going to be quiet. He's going to wait for you to come back to him. And a lot of times when we've been hurt, we've been wounded, we either are very angry, very bitter, and it can make us one of two different ways where we get really angry and we let it go and we speak words out that are not good, or they get really quiet and they don't say anything. Either way is not healthy. Healthy is to be able to talk about the issue. Now, I understand and get it. If you're in a relationship with someone that is very strong and they want their way and they treat you badly, what do? Do you end up having a conversation with them, trying to work a relationship with them? Do you get quiet around them? If you speak up and speak the truth and saying, listen, you're not treating me the way that you should, how would they react? Oftentimes they'll get really mad and angry and violent. So it's really, really hard when you're in those relationships. But you think about Jesus. Jesus is there. He's waiting for you. He wants to talk to you. But if you are mad, oftentimes things will happen to us. We may blame God, which is what the enemy wants to have happen, is to have you get blamed or have God get blamed. And then you end up being mad and angry at God, saying, oh my gosh, why'd you put me in this position? When the Lord may be taking you into a ministry or some type of situation where you can help people. And it's up to you, of course, if you want to do that or not. But again, Jesus is not going to force you to have a relationship with him. He basically waits patiently until you're ready to have a conversation. If we do not make any effort with people on earth to have a healthy relationship, then it's not going to happen. If we do not own our own issues, then our issues will own us. So if we treat our spouse or kids, say, poorly, we talk harshly to them, we ignore them, then there's not going to be a healthy relationship that is possible. There are many who have grown up with toxic relationships with a parent, which then leads them into hearing the enemy speak to them, causing them to have poor relationships or no relationships with their spouse, with their children, or other people. So basically, if a person still has unhealed wounds in their souls from the past hurts, then they will hear a lot of demonic thoughts in their heads, causing them not to be able to have a healthy relationship. You know, the National Science Foundation did a study, 2005, that found that people that had, oftentimes the most common, the people would have around 12,000 thoughts a day. They could have up to 60,000 thoughts a day, of which 80% of those thoughts are negative. 95% the same thoughts they had the day before. Oh, look, there's some white ducks behind me. I didn't know if they were swans or not, but there are 2 white ducks swimming here on this beautiful day in Georgia. So again, if you're getting a lot of negative thoughts and you're listening to the enemy giving you those thoughts, so if you're around a lot of toxic people, then they're going to say things to you that are going to cause you to be hurt, have pain, which hurts your soul, your mind, your will, and your emotions, which will affect you to either become very, very angry or bitter, or you might shut down emotionally. And so it's not healthy to be around people that are demonic. Jesus said that. Jesus came, did Jesus come for peace? No, Jesus came for division. Father against son, father against daughter, mother against daughter, mother-in-law against daughter-in-law. You can say the same thing with husband and wife. You know, if a person is speaking forth a lot of harshness, a lot of evil words, a lot of demonic stuff, is it going to be healthy to be around them? No. So you pray, Lord, take me out of this situation. Take me out so that I can have peace and I can do more for you. And the Lord will do it. I've seen that in the cases many, many times. I'd say more than half the time. I've had a lot of people that will reach out and say, listen, I'm in a job and my boss is horrible. I don't like him or her. You know, they're Jezebel. You know, again, I had a couple of bosses that were Jezebel. So what do we do about that? Normally, what I'll suggest strongly is to pray and say, okay, Lord, I just declare that you will move me out of this position or the entire company, or move that person out or to a different division or out of the company. And I would guess more than half the time, relatively quickly. Oftentimes it's like within a week to 4 weeks that something happens and it changes. Either the person that prayed the prayer gets shifted out and they don't have to report to that person anymore, or the person that is their boss ends up getting taken out. You know, because if you were around the toxic person, you know, I had a boss that was like that. He was mean, he was controlling, he talked down to everyone. And I actually had him twice as a boss. First time I said nothing. Second time I really felt strongly the Lord said, go to HR and report him. And so I did. And then they interviewed all the others that reported to him. They found out that, yep, he's a meanie. He needs to go through, you know, he needs to go through deliverance. But they made him go through sensitivity training, some other things. And then the Lord took me out of the company. No longer there. Bye-bye. With a boss to another company, with a boss that really liked me. He was really, really good to me. And I really liked him. We could talk about a lot of things, spiritual things as well. So it was very healthy at that point. Oh my gosh, I had so much peace in my stomach. So, you know, I'll say that. You know, if you're around a person for 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week in a job that's not healthy, pray, Lord, take me out. And then watch what happens. He will do it. Same thing in any relationship. You know, if you have a toxic relationship with your mom or dad, we talked about this, I think, yesterday or the day before, is do not tolerate that toxic words that come out and or actions. Boundaries. Put a healthy boundary up. I believe that was a book, wasn't it? Boundaries? Yes. Oh, is it Henry Cloud and who else was it? Somebody else. Anyways, people that have demonic spirits, people that are mean, Do not tolerate them being mean to you forever. There may be a season and a time the Lord has you go through that, because maybe you're going to have a ministry that you're going to be working with a lot of people who have spirits of Jezebel and Leviathan. So you have to have some experience so you understand it and you have an anointing over it. But typically not forever. Otherwise, what use was it? What good was it? What good came from it? All right, so to have a healthy relationship, you need to have your past soul wounds healed by Jesus and the demons cast out. Then you will hear good thoughts from the Lord, or healthier thoughts from yourself, and much fewer thoughts from the enemy, from demons. And you'll be able to discern and recognize when they are coming from the demonic world, and you can shut them down. Remember, I've talked about this myself, that I started learning about this back in 2009, and it was late 2008 that I got delivered by God. I just woke up one day and I started hearing God speak to me. I was like, what? Say what? What is this? This is not my typical thoughts. And then the Lord took me into a marriage that was very abusive, but I had to tolerate it, so I had learned about the spirits of Jezebel and Leviathan. And I did. I learned how people get it. I learned how to get people delivered from it. And it changed my life, and it put me on track to do this ministry. And now we're seeing lots of fruit from it. Great fruit. Not grapefruit. Great. G-R-E-A-T. Great fruit. And we are saving people's marriages, and it's a good thing. And we're also helping people to have boundaries, to say, nope, not going to be abused today. Not going to tolerate that. Not appropriate. I might have to say goodbye. I might have to hang up the phone. I might have to say, nope, not going to work here anymore. Not going to be treated like this anymore. Or you pray, and the Lord takes out your boss and says, okay, they're gone. That happened actually. I mean, in my case, I forgot about that part. So the boss that took sensitivity training, he was still there for another, I think, 6 months, maybe 4 months, and then they moved him out. He was gone. He needed deliverance. And then the people that got left behind, they're like, oh my gosh, Nelson, you left. Now we know he's not real happy because we told on him. I'm like, yeah, but it needed to be done. Sometimes it's going to be uncomfortable to do the right thing. And that's the truth. So, anyways, hello to Cindy on YouTube from California, and others that are out there. Jasmine from Facebook, your first time. So good, welcome. So what we talk about here on Restored to Freedom, which is my ministry, is the truth. We get into the truth, the spiritual roots, that we recognize that there are demons that are out there, and they give us thoughts, and they cause us to not have healthy relationships. We oftentimes will self-sabotage our own relationships because we're selfish. But the deal is we're hearing a lot of negative thoughts. Christians can hear demons. People that are in church, people that are leadership positions, people that are pastors, they'll treat people badly because they have not got their wounds healed yet, nor delivered from their demons. And there's lots of people in ministry that need delivered. They're treating people horribly. And there's people that are your family, your friends, your workers. Everybody needs their wounds healed from the past, because when you get wounded, you get hurt, you will hear the demonic spirits remind you of all those injustices. And that could last your entire life. And you don't recognize it because you just get the thoughts. And the thoughts come in oftentimes from the demonic spirits telling you to believe things that are lies, and telling you to be mad and be angry and take it out on your spouse and control your spouse, be manipulative. Most marriages are going to have one person that's very controlling and manipulative, that has the spirit of Jezebel, married to someone that has the spirit of Ahab. The spirit of Ahab wants to get along with people, just tolerate things. They don't stand up for themselves. So, anyway, the healthiest relationships are where both parties are willing participants in wanting to get healed and delivered. And then you can communicate normally, lovingly, kindly, showing respect and love. But people have a free will. So if a person does not get delivered, and they have the spirit of Jezebel, the psychologist would call them narcissist. You probably heard of that term. But if you're first-timers and stuff, you may never heard of the spirit of Jezebel. You can read 1 Kings and 2 Kings. It talks about Queen Jezebel being married to King Ahab. And you can read what she was like. She was not good. She tried to stop um, the prophets from prophesying and killing them. And so the people that have that spirit today in a relationship want to stop you from doing things for the Lord. They want to shut you down, not to be able to do ministry and or limit you, but they want to control and manipulate you. They have a lot of pride, which is the spirit of Leviathan, which is in Job 41. And Revelation also 2:18-23 talks about the church of Thyatira, and it talks about Jezebel. And the Lord said, I'm tired of tolerating that spirit. I'm going to put Jezebel on a sickbed and kill her children. And again, I do sessions with people all the time, 7 to 8 a week, private sessions with people all over the world. Did a couple from Australia yesterday. And it's the same old story. People get wounded. People get hurt. People choose to sin. People make statements with their mouth like they pledge to Freemasons and Shriners, and that stuff's demonic. And when they make these negative confessions to the enemy, to Satan ultimately, in hopes of getting a lot of money, then that will carry forth down the bloodline. Oftentimes their children will get affected. Their spouse will get affected. If you get wounded and you get hurt by a father, by a mother, by a stepfather, by a stepmother, through sexual stuff that happens to you, which is very, very, very common. Most people do get affected sexually and they don't say anything to anybody. They could have been shown pornography when they were 4 or 5 years old. They could have been touched when they were 2 or 3, 4 years old or less. And that will give legal rights to the demons to torment them in their thoughts, in their mind. They will not have peace. They will not have good relationships. They will be tormented, until they go through inner healing and deliverance. Inner healing is nothing more than forgiving people, seeing people through Christ's eyes. Why do people hurt you when you grow up? Because they were hurt. Hurting people hurt people. And when that happens, you will end up hearing from demonic spirits. Doesn't mean you're possessed. It means you're oppressed. Paul talks about that. We're supposed to take the thoughts captive. Because if we don't take the thoughts captive, they'll take us captive. So if you listen to a whole sentence that a demonic spirit gives you in your mind, a thought, and it's from the enemy, you're not going to have peace. You're not going to get along in a relationship. You're going to be selfish, going to be controlling, manipulative, or you could have been having more of the spirit of Ahab, where you want to get along with everybody, so you tolerate sin. And the Lord will give you opportunities to stand up for yourself and say, nope, not going to tolerate that. Nope, not going to look the other way. Nope, I'm going to speak the truth to a person that's going to get really mad and angry at me. But Jesus spoke the truth, and people got mad and angry at him, didn't they? Yep, they're called the Pharisees and the scribes. And there's modern-day Pharisees and scribes that are in every church, that are throughout the entire world, billions of them, because they've not been healed and they've not been delivered. All right, next. So, the healthiest relationships that you could possibly have is when you have pursued and made a healthy effort at pursuing getting healed and delivered. Again, if a person rejects it, I always say, if you're married to somebody and they refuse to own their own issues and want to blame everything on you, which is what the demons want them to do, that way the demons will stay put in them and they will not be delivered. They will not change, and they will be mean. They will be controlling. They'll be prideful. They'll be sexually impure. Then you give them time to repent. You show them the truth. A lot of times people share the videos or teachings here on YouTube or Facebook, either with Nelson Schumann or Restored to Freedom, and gives them time to repent. And if they refuse to, the Lord will tell you when it's time to separate, and or if it's time to divorce. Why? Because Jesus came for peace? Kumbaya? No. Jesus came for division. It says it in Luke. Read it. Jesus came for division, because if you choose to serve Jesus and you're married to someone that's choosing to serve Satan, those two cannot coexist very well. They won't. If you bow down to the demons in your husband or your wife, and they want to control, manipulate you, and stop you from doing what God's calling is, well, what happens when you die and you go up to heaven? Well, or go up to the judgment throne, and the Lord says, what did you do for me? Well, I was married to somebody that wouldn't let me do anything. Yeah, he or she was very controlling, manipulative, so to get along with them, I had to do nothing, or very minimal stuff for the Lord. Oh, well, does the Bible say, well, then welcome, come on in? No. Matthew 7:21-23, Lord, Lord, look at all I've done. There's people that have done a lot of things. I've cast out demons in your name, prophesied in your name, done many wonders in your name. And the Lord says, depart from me. I never knew you, workers of iniquity, which is sin. Galatians 5:16-26 talks about a whole bunch of fleshly stuff, and it says you're not going to inherit the kingdom of God if you have wrath, if you have dissensions, if you're jealous, if you're envious, if that's your regular personality. You don't have any fruit to show for it. The Lord's all about the fruit. Not talking about the works. Works will normally come from people that do have good fruit, but there's people that have bad fruit that do works. Why? Because it makes them look good. Because image is everything to these people that have demons, that are being oppressed by them in the church. They want to make sure that they look good. So they may volunteer and give away food at Thanksgiving and Christmas time and make themselves look good, but then they treat their spouse horribly behind closed doors. They treat their children badly. They're into sexual stuff that's not pure. And that's the truth. They're not going to heaven, you know? So anyway, we speak the truth. Truth will set people free. Now let me read some. I love Proverbs. I haven't read a lot of Proverbs lately. Not as much as I'm going to read today. I'm going to read a lot of Proverbs today. So, Proverbs 3:13 says, happy is the person who finds wisdom and gains understanding. Proverbs 11:17, your own soul, your soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions. Your mind is your thoughts. So again, the enemy's after your soul. So is Jesus. Let me move this out here a little bit. I'm in the shade. I'm really close. I'm going to move backwards, but not into the water. Okay, there we go. That feels much better. All right. So Proverbs 11:17, your own soul is nourished when you are kind, but you destroy yourself when you are cruel. So how many Christians do you know that are cruel? Is it cruel to be kind? Wasn't there a song? Cruel to be kind in the right man. No. Being kind is a fruit of the Spirit. Kindness. You can read that in Galatians. Galatians 5 talks about the fruit of the Spirit. People that have demons, that are in the church, that may look good, aren't kind. They're selfish. They want to control you. They want to manipulate you. Again, control can be done. There's subtle versions of Jezebel, and there's overt versions. The overt versions are those that are yellers and screamers, and they throw things, knives and glasses, to make you do what they want. And there's also the subtle versions that may not say much at all, and they may not, give you what you want unless you do what they want. And that's a subtle way of controlling and manipulative. I talked to a person yesterday who said, yeah, my I think it was her dad was more subtle of the Jezebel spirits. And he said, that's really hard to deal with that because they seem like they're sweet, they seem like they're nice, but they're very covert, and they'll not do things for you, and they may not respond to you. They may control you that way through non-talking. So, all right, Proverbs 12:2-3. The Lord approves of those who are good. Goodness is a fruit of the Spirit. Goodness. So you should be good to people. You should be loving, joy, peaceful, patient, kind, self-control. That's the fruit of the Spirit. If you are truly inner healed and delivered from the demons that are tormenting you. But there's a whole bunch, majority of the people in the church that need deliverance and healing. And that's why we're seeing really good results. Not everybody, they got a free will. So people in a marriage, one person can choose not put forth the effort, and then try and blame everything on the spouse and put them in circles when they're talking. All right. So Proverbs 12:2-3 says, the Lord approves of those who are good, but he condemns those who plan wickedness. Wickedness never brings stability. Only the godly have deep roots. And that is so true. How many people that again, you go to church, people are going to put forth their best effort to look good. Image is everything with people that have the spirit of Jezebel. So you're not going to know everybody, how they behave behind closed doors. They're going to be nice to your face, majority of the time. You don't know, because oftentimes people that have Jezebel will target their spouse. They will be mean to them. They will control, and ultimately it makes them sicker and sicker and sicker, and they want to die. That's the truth. I have known a person that died. She stayed too long in a toxic relationship with a man that was a covert narcissist. But he was actually sexually molested by his father. And he was mean behind closed doors. He was wicked. And the kids left as soon as they turned 18 and graduated. They're out of there. But the wife stayed. She ended up dying. She was like 42 years old. And it was sad. She ended up getting a brain tumor. And then he got remarried to a woman that was very healthy, quiet, loving, sweet, Ahabish, spirit of Ahab. And then she died. Well, she didn't die. She started getting sicker. I don't know that I haven't heard if she's still in that relationship or she's gone. But she was getting sicker. You know, so again, you be around a person that's wicked, that speaks to you horribly and mean, and or they can say things in a calm way, very covert way, and you won't have a healthy relationship. Okay, Proverbs 12:8. Everyone admires a person with good sense, but a warped mind is despised. There's a lot of warped minds out there today. That's demonic. Proverbs 12:14. People can get many good things by the words they say. The work of their hands also gives them many benefits. Again, a lot of times people that struggle with Jezebel spirit have good works. Makes themselves look good. Image is everything to other people. But the Lord looks upon the heart. It says that a lot of places in the Bible. The Lord looks upon the heart and the mind. All right. Proverbs 31:28-29. This is again Proverbs 31. You know, it talks about the virtuous woman. It says, her children stand and bless her. Her husband praises her. There are many virtuous and capable women in the world, but you surpass them all. That's Proverbs 31:28-29. Women that struggle, that have been hurt, oftentimes could be through their father, but it can also be through a mother, but they could be hurt and deeply hurt. And if they're deeply hurt and they're not healed yet and delivered, then they're going to take on this spirit of Jezebel, where they'll be controlling and manipulative and mean, and they will do bad things to their husband and bad things to their children. And so in those cases, the children would not say blessed things about her, and neither would the husband praise her. You know, now there are obviously a lot of times that we're in church and we're going to act like it. We're going to act like we love our spouse and love the children and stuff, when it's just, it's fake. It's a lie. All right, now let's see. Proverbs 5:18-19 says, let your wife be a fountain of blessing for you. Rejoice in the wife of your youth. She is a loving doe, a graceful deer. Let her breast satisfy you always. May you always be captivated by her love. Now I'll say that's very challenging if you have a person that's not inner healed and delivered yet, because the wife will not treat the husband the way that she should, and vice versa with a man. You know, it talks about, of course, women submitting to a man, but if the man's got a lot of demonic stuff, or he's treating her horribly, you know, that makes it very hard. It's like, gee, am I supposed to submit to the demons in him, Lord? And the Lord told me, who are you going to submit to, the demons in my ex-wife or me? At the time, I submitted a lot because the Lord told me to basically take it and take it and take it, and that eventually this would become a worldwide ministry. And so I did. I bit my tongue, and I took it and took it and took it, and it wasn't fun. But now I learned about these demonic spirits and how they're in a majority of people in the world. All right. Proverbs 12:4. A wife of noble character is her husband's crown, but a disgraceful wife is like decay in his bones. That's true. If you're talking about a woman that operates more of the spirit of Jezebel, it does decay a person's bones. It makes you sick. It makes you want to give up and die. Vice versa, if a woman is married to a man that abuses. Proverbs 14:1. A wise woman builds her house. A foolish woman tears hers down with her own hands. You know, it's interesting. There are people that struggle with demonic spirits. They will do that. They will ruin and sabotage good things. Could be the church, could be their own house. It can cause them to throw things. I know it. I had a knife thrown at me, had a glass thrown at me, a chair, had my arm scarred with her fingernails. You know, it was scary stuff. It was demonic. I took it and took it and took it and took it before finally the Lord said, enough. So, but people that have demonic spirits will tear down their own houses. They will throw things. I remember I had a glass thrown at me. It put a dent in the wall. And she ended up fixing it. Not before I took a picture of it, but she fixed it like the next day. It put a nice, healthy dent in the wall the size of my thumb. I was like, oh my gosh. And for a bad reason. So, anyways, let me go on. Proverbs 19:13 through 14 says, a foolish child is a calamity to a father. A nagging wife a noise like a constant dripping. Parents can provide their sons with an inheritance of houses and wealth, but only the Lord can give an understanding wife. That's true. There's a lot of wounded women, and there's a lot of wounded men that are out there. And typically you're going to find this in probably 85% of the relationships is you're going to find one person who is more controlling, manipulative, prideful, that's a taker, that will find someone to marry that's more of a giver, that is more of a wants to love and wants to tolerate and give in, give in. Oh, there's a ducky and there's another one. Two of them, they came back. Hello, duckies. They're swimming quite fast today. All right, next. Proverbs 21:9, better to live on a corner of the roof than share a house with a quarrelsome wife. Yep, and I say it's one better because I used to have to tolerate that. I decided, you know what, it's better to sleep in your car, in the bark, or in the mulch of your neighborhood playground than it is to be in the corner top of the house, because you can still hear the demonic voice coming out, the words. So it's much better to get away completely and be quiet, have peace. Proverbs 21:19, it's better to live alone in the desert than with a crabby, complaining wife. Again, these are verses that deal with women that struggle with the spirit of Jezebel. So Proverbs 27:15 through 16, a nagging wife is as annoying as the constant dripping on a rainy day. Trying to stop her complaints is like trying to stop the wind or hold something with greased hands. Proverbs 30:21 through 23, there are three things that make the earth tremble. No, four it cannot endure. A slave who becomes a king, an overbearing fool who prospers, a bitter woman who finally gets a husband, and a servant girl who supplants her mistress. Isn't that interesting? All right, others. Proverbs 1 through 5. Let those who are wise listen to these proverbs and become even wiser, and let those who understand receive guidance. Proverbs 12:15. Fools think they need no advice, but the wise listen to others. Proverbs 13:10. Pride only breeds quarrels, which is strife. But wisdom is found in those who take advice. That's a lot. A lot of the strife and fighting and arguing that goes on between people, spouses, is pride. Typically, again, we get hurt and wounded when we're growing up. We will have this spirit of Leviathan, which is in Job 41. In verse 34, it says it's king over all the children of pride. Pride always comes in saying, you know what, I couldn't get protected from whoever it was that hurt me, so therefore I better look out for myself from now on and trust what the voices that I'm hearing are telling me. And those voices, unfortunately, are largely demonic. So it causes you to self-sabotage your own relationships. And you can go on to as many counselors and whatever that you go to, but if they don't ever go through the inner healing and deliverance and have you forgive those who hurt you, you will have pride. All right. Proverbs 19:20 through 21. Get all the advice and instruction you can and be wise the rest of your life. You can make many plans, but the Lord's purpose will prevail. Proverbs 21:30. Human plans, no matter how wise or well advised, cannot stand against the Lord. Proverbs 25:5 through 6. A wise man has great power, and a man of knowledge increases strength. For waging war, you need guidance, and for victory, many advisors. Now, those that struggle with anger and rage and bitterness, that's demonic. You're getting a lot of thoughts coming in from the enemy telling you that you're right, and don't let anybody else tell you different. Don't listen to anybody else. I'm going to move this again. The sun keeps moving for some strange reason. Why would that be? All right, let me move backwards. Okay, here we go. And there's a ducky, a darker one. All right, so for people that struggle with anger and rage and bitterness, it's demonic. Again, you're getting triggered. Your soul wounds have not been healed from the past, so the same demonic spirits that hurt you when you were growing up are still triggering you. A lot of times people say, well, that's just the way that I am. I'm like, really? You're mean? You're angry? You're not Christ-like? You're ungodly? And a lot of these people are in the church thinking that they're saved. Well, I asked Jesus into my heart. Well, how do you treat your spouse? How do you treat your kids? And they get really mad and angry. So, here we go. Anger, rage, and bitterness. Proverbs 3:30. Do not accuse a man for no reason when he has done you no harm. A lot of people accuse. People that have the spirit of Jezebel love to accuse. Oftentimes they accuse you of what they are or what they do. Uh-oh, sorry about the car honking. Okay, please, someone turn off the car honking. Maybe the car is honked off. Maybe there are geese in front of the car and the geese are honking. Nope, there we go, it stopped. All right, Proverbs 3:31-32 says, do not envy a man of violence, and do not choose any of his ways, for the devious are an abomination to the Lord. But he, the Lord, is intimate with the upright. Yep, there you go. So do not want to become like a very angry, violent person. Do you know people that are that way? You know people that are very, they get their way oftentimes that way because they're scary. Who wants a relationship with someone that's scary, intimidating? Again, the demons know that. If I get mean and angry, I'll get my way. Yeah, but you really won't have any good friendships or relationships. And you probably won't be on your way to heaven, that's for sure. Okay, Proverbs 12:16. A fool is quick-tempered, but a wise person stays calm when insulted. Yes, I will not strive and fight and argue. If somebody tries to provoke me, I'm going to stay calm and peaceful. Proverbs 12:20. Deceit is in the heart of them that imagine evil, but to the counselors of peace is joy. Proverbs 14:10. Each heart knows its own bitterness, and no one else can share its joy. Proverbs 14:17. A quick-tempered man acts foolishly, and a man of evil devices is hated. This can cause a person to do some stupid, foolish things. I know of a lady that got very angry and threw her phone and busted it in the parking lot. I'm like, that wasn't very smart, was it? And then there's people that will throw things at the TV. They will throw things and bust them, things that cost hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars. Why do they do that? Demons tormenting them told them that would be a good idea. And then they laugh about it. We got them to lose their temper, get mad and angry, and throw something or ruin something. All right, Proverbs 14:29. Those who control their anger have great understanding. Those with a hasty temper will make mistakes. Ding, 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 ding. A lot of times, again, a person that's corrupt, a person that's demonic, is going to make a ton of mistakes. And if they don't get healed and delivered, they're going to continue to make those mistakes their whole life. They're going to make mistakes in business, going to make mistakes in their walk with the Lord. They're going to make mistakes with their children, with their spouse. They're not going to be easy to get along with. Proverbs 16:29. Violent people deceive their companions, leading them down a harmful path. Proverbs 15:18. A hot-tempered man stirs up strife, but the slow to anger calms a dispute. Amen. Proverbs 17:27-28. A man of knowledge uses words with restraint, and a man of understanding is even-tempered. Even a fool is thought wise if he keeps silent, and discerning if he holds his tongue. Proverbs 18:19. It's harder to make amends with an offended friend than to capture a fortified city. Arguments separate friends like a gate locked with iron bars. Servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle with all. 2 Timothy 2:23-24. You can go all the way to 26 with that. Let's see. Proverbs 19:11. A man's wisdom gives him patience. It is to his glory to overlook an offense. Proverbs 19:19. A man of great anger will bear the penalty, for if you rescue him, you will only have to do it again. Proverbs 23:20. Chapter 20, verse 3. It is an honor for a man to cease from strife, but every fool will be meddling. Proverbs 22:24-25. Do not make friends with a hot-tempered man. Do not associate with one easily angered, or you may learn his ways and get yourself ensnared. Yup. Proverbs 26:20 through 21. Fire goes out for lack of fuel, and quarrels disappear when gossip stops. A quarrelsome person starts fights as easily as hot embers light charcoal or fire lights wood. Proverbs 29:9. When a wise man has a controversy with a foolish man, the foolish man either rages or laughs, and there is no rest. Nope, no peace. Proverbs 29:11. A fool gives full vent to his anger, but a wise man keeps himself under control. Proverbs 29:22. An angry man stirs up strife, and a hot-tempered man abounds in transgression. So, you cannot have a healthy relationship without a healthy effort. And that goes for both. Anyone, if you're going to have a relationship with anyone. You go through inner healing and deliverance, and you'll be able to talk about anything. You'll be able to be calm and peaceful and talk through anything. You will not rage, or you will not be silent. You'll be able to talk through and resolve. But again, it takes two people. So, okay, so next up is May the 1st, next Saturday night in Atlanta, Georgia. Going to be at the Marriott, or the Atlanta Marriott Perimeter Center, which is up on the north side of Atlanta. So looking forward to everyone that is signing up for that. Again, you can do it on Eventbrite, or you can do it on Facebook, on Restored to Freedom. And again, it's free. We will take a free will offering, because that pays for the room, pays for travel, expenses, and I will bring my books that you can buy at a discount. So, there you go. I will let you guys go. So, have a great rest of your day, and we will see you on Facebook and YouTube.